Our main model to show multiplication is to show it as length times width equals area. Now we're going to use the same model and we're going to apply it to fractions. But to do this, we just want to make sure that we understand what one whole represents. And one whole is going to be the area when we do one along the horizontal, so I've shown that in green, and one along the vertical, which I've shown that in blue. And that red area represents one whole when we look at the fraction. Okay, so when we look at that red square, that represents our whole, and then whatever we shade on the inside of that would represent our part in our part-whole relationship. Now, our part-whole relationship is one way we can think of fractions, but we also have this very convenient and useful big idea of times on top and divide on bottom. And we want to make sure that we're always trying to relate it to that because that makes our calculations much easier if we can figure out whether factors go on the top or bottom or sometimes both. So when we're looking at 3 times 1 over 4, we're looking at the area of a length of 3 times the width of 1 over 4. So when I look at my picture here, along this horizontal represents a length of 3. Okay, maybe I'll color code this. So along that length, we have a length of 3. And along the width, we're going to have the width of 1/4. So this represents the height of 1/4. So that green area represents the answer. When we do this, we're going to use our times on top and divide on bottom. And so on top, we end up with 3 as a multiplier. So that goes on top. 3 times 1 on top, 4 on bottom. And the answer should be an area of 3 1/4 pieces. Okay, and when we look at this, that pink area represents one whole, and we can see that one of these rectangles here, I'm just going to shade this green piece here. One of these rectangles represents 1/4, and we have 3 1/4. That's the area that we fill in when we have 3 times 1/4. Here we're going to have a length of 2. So here we have along the length here is 2. And along the width or height in this case is going to be 3/4. So when we look at this area, it looks like we have two groups of 3/4. So we have each one of these rectangles represents 1/4. So it looks like we have 6 over 4, 6 1/4. And we can show that again by using our times on top, divide on bottom model. 2 is a multiplier, so it goes on top. 3 was on top already. And we have 4. That ends up being 6 1/4 pieces, and that's what I see. I see 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 1/4 pieces. Okay, and again, we can see that the outline here, this square, 1 by 1 square, would represent one whole.